Next up are the teens from the Robertson Branch Library.
Hello, I'm Sarah Lefkowitz.
I am Talia Kornzweig.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline Mendez.
And I'm Linda Hernandez.
So we are the Robertson Teen Council, which is made up of over 27 teens from 8 different schools. And for this Teens Leading Change program, we decided to focus on the school to prison pipeline. Though our teen council members are from a variety of schools, have different backgrounds, and live in different parts of Los Angeles, we all had a level of familiarity with the school to prison pipeline going into this project because of how widespread the issue is in all of our schools. So, how did we identify the school to prison pipeline as the topic we wanted to focus on? Well, we began with a discussion of issues that face our communities. We then condensed our ideas into 3 main issues: housing inequality, the criminal justice system, and racial inequities. In our next step, we tried to draw connections between these different issues and identify common themes that all of them shared. We found that common themes included the relationship between poverty, racism, incarceration, and the vicious cycle that encompasses all 3. We decided that the school to prison pipeline embodied all 3 of these issues and their relationship to one another, and was also a topic that each council member connected with as students who have experienced and or seen the lasting effects of this problem in their day-to-day life as students.
Thank you. So, like Sarah said, in the early stages of developing our project, we spent a lot of time identifying inequality and injustice in our community, and we considered this on a national level and then a more local level. We identified the school to prison pipeline as a disturbing trend that we define as the criminalization of youth that begins in schools and disproportionately affects students of color and marginalized groups. Our council found that we all see elements of the school to prison pipeline around us, and some of us experience the symptoms of it in our own schools. We've come to understand that the school to prison pipeline is a product of racism and bias in schools, and that over-policing, zero-tolerance policies, and inadequate resources in public schools generate an environment in which largely students of color are targeted as criminals instead of being supported as students. We've also drawn connections between policing, incarceration, and the school to prison pipeline. Our project is focused on dismantling the school to prison pipeline and examining what we can do to combat it in our schools. We've explored what actions and approaches we can take to fight this trend, examining the influence that teachers, administrators, and coaches have in student lives on campus by listening to their perspectives. Most recently, we've organized and conducted interviews with teachers from our schools. We've gained a lot of insight around their perspective as they shared their personal opinions surrounding discipline, supportive teaching methods, and how they define the school to prison pipeline. We've invited educators, activists, and community organizers to share their experiences surrounding the pipeline, especially regarding policing in schools and disciplinary methods. We've spoken to advocates representing GRID, which is the Gang Reduction and Youth Development Program located in LA, Project Knucklehead, which is a nonprofit focused on dismantling the school to prison pipeline, as well as Students Deserve. These discussions with organizers and youth leaders have helped us to highlight courses of action that are effective in dismantling the school to prison pipeline. Some of these include implementing alternative discipline measures like teen court and restorative justice as a replacement for police, campus police, and policies that criminalize students. Addressing the lack of representation of people of color and marginalized groups in schools with empowering outreach programs, as well as implementing more programs like Teen Council for students to have something safe and productive to do in and out of school and provide a platform for them to voice their concerns.
How has this project impacted us? Well, this project has given more of a universal perspective for us. It has opened our eyes to how the school to prison pipeline is incorporated in our daily school lives in ways such as the way we see teachers treat certain students, or how we see students getting disciplined, or how we see the quote unquote random backpack checks in a different light. This could not have been possible without our amazing speakers who have given us the privilege of exploring different perspectives, from talking to people who are part of GRID, Project Knucklehead, and Students Deserve, which which focus on dismantling the school to prison pipeline. And we feel so grateful to have been taught about issues by such amazing advocacy organizations. We have also learned more about topics and issues not usually discussed in schools. We have gained insight on teachers' thoughts, experiences, and themselves, which have enabled us to understand issues within our community more. As young adults, we are so grateful to have learned about such issues that impact everyone in our community.
So the next step for our group, we are planning to have more speakers and have a time of self-reflection on what we have accomplished and what we have learned through this project. For everyone here and in our community, if you or yourself know someone interested, there are many community organizations you can join and get in touch with, such as the ones that Talia had mentioned, and Students Deserve, Project Knucklehead, and the Brace Foundation. So we'd like you to think about some of these questions. How can empathy play a greater role in schools and education? Why is discipline and punishment the answer? What do students need? So in the chat, you can put a way empathy could change the course of the school to prison pipeline, and why discipline and punishment is the answer. So an example could be, instead of going straight into a more extreme punishment, we could provide counseling and prioritize mental health.